As you can see, I'm doing my best to look like some kind of skater boy. But if you look a little bit closer, you will see this is Muhammad Ali against Joe Frazier, March the 8th, 1971. Very arguably the best heavyweight fight of all time. If you haven't seen it, for some weird reason, I suggest you check it out. But, well, what just happened there? Sergey Kovalev getting beaten in 7 rounds against Elida Alvarez. Storm, I think the guy's nickname is. That was very appropriate. It really did come out of nowhere because Kovalev had a pretty good 6th round where he just looked like he was starting to get his boxing together a bit after a bit of a flat period. Now, Alvarez didn't do anything particularly well, but he did everything he needed to do, and he did it with purpose. He was moving a lot, he was shelling up when he needed to, but then when Kovalev was trying to push him back with his classic stiff jab and right hand and then round the guard type of right hand, he was always challenging him and calling him on these things, going, all right then, and he was throwing as well. He was not going to be bullied, and I think that was really key. Now, something that came to light, which was seen to be a problem in both of the Andre Ward losses, is that Kovalev's fitness here is definitely got to be called into question. I mean, not that it might matter much now. I mean, this might be the end of him as a world-level operator. But again, as early as the 4th round, in which I think he had an okay round in the 4th, was getting a bit more on it and punching more fluidly. Again, he was breathing quite heavy. The hands are coming down, and the sneer that he begins the fight with, that more intense, that sort of intimidation factor that he still kind of brought into the ring with him, it just starts to fade. As I say, the hands are coming down, and he seems to just be getting a bit emotionally drained and not believing in himself as much if he hasn't managed to hurt the target. Now, of course, at the beginning of the 7th, Alvarez begun the round with a lot of assertiveness and belief. Each time he was sat there in the corner, he had a real intense expression on his face, and he came out in the 7th, looked like he was determined to make something happen, which of course he did do with a long right hand, which had a bad effect on Kovalev. His legs seemed to just jutter like a malfunctioned robot for a second, and then he hit the deck. But Alvarez just, you know, as I say, didn't do anything particularly impressive, but he was tough, he was robust, he moved when he needed to, he defended, and then he attacked and refused to be bullied. And you could see he's pretty big and thick, quite a chunky light heavyweight in the ring. And Kovalev, with his kind of aggressive front foot type of boxing, where he likes to get you at the end of his punches that get going on, once he wasn't really able to hurt or control him, you could see Kovalev's work as well, as early as round 4 and then 5 just after. It started to become a bit forced, and he started to have a flat look about him. And I think it just brings to light how he doesn't have those extra layers to his game like Golovkin does. Now, a few years ago, people were, when both Kovalev and Golovkin were knocking everybody out, I guess you could say before they fought particularly good competition, a lot of people thought it was Kovalev who was the superior boxer out of the two. And he was the guy who would ultimately, because you had Adonis Stevenson and that, people thought he was going to have this great run, take all these scalps and really prove to be the best of all these Eastern European fighters. But as a lot of people thought, there was a bit of a bully aspect to Kovalev, and one of the key differences between a Golovkin and a Kovalev is Golovkin is very assertive in the clinches. He doesn't let you get away with stuff. He's got all great tactics of putting his head by your chest, pushing you away, not letting you get away with any dirty stuff. So he takes control of it. And Kovalev, you saw it against Ward, and you saw it in little bits against Alvarez. Not that it plotted his demise, but you just saw it again. I think it's symptomatic of how he doesn't have these certain layers to his game, and that he was pushed over the ropes at one point, and he was just sort of taking it like, all right, the ref do something, and then he almost rubbed his back like I may have hurt my back there. That's when the fighter has to take things into matters into his own hand, push the guy back, be dirty if you have to, because it just leaves puts the exclamation mark on, no, I'm in control of this, you're not going to bully me. And there's something about Kovalev, he's not a particularly good inside fighter. He suffered against Ward, and again here, sometimes in the inside, he didn't really know what to do. He has that cuffing right hand where he tries to throw on the inside and turn it round around the guard. But when you get a bit too close to Kovalev, it shows he doesn't have the close or the mid-range as much. And you could say his repertoire was a bit limited. It was becoming forced. He's throwing that jab, the right hand, but he wasn't going to the body a lot. And again, he starts breathing heavily and heavily. And what a great finish by Alvarez. He hurt him with the right hand, got back up, didn't let him off the hook. And you could see he was just chomping at the bit to get him out of there. His legs definitely went on the second knockdown with a hook. And then he was done and dusted with that 3rd knockdown. And is it the end? The Crusher has officially been crushed. Against Ward, we saw that maybe he is a bit of the bully, that once the fight was knocked out of him, it kind of showed. You know, he seems to become a bit emotionally drained. He seems to tire a bit easy. And, you know, if you make it into a bit of a dogfight with Kovalev and you've got the necessary physicality and some adequate power, you know, you might be able to drown him, it seems. So, after the Ward loss, the second one that is, you know, he went away to have a bit of a spiritual rethink and a recharge and come back. But man, it's derailed quite quickly, hasn't it? Is this the end for Kovalev at the top level? What do you think? You could maybe see the signs there that he didn't have the best mindset, because after the first Ward loss, whatever you think of it, he was very focused on the sense of injustice. And when you've got a rematch, it's just, you know, okay, I thought I won that fight, but all I'm focused about is this. But the way he was calling him son of judges and all this, you could see perhaps he had somewhat of a psychological immaturity when it comes to digesting loss and failure and then progressing, whereas someone like Lennox Lewis was very good at going, okay, I lost, but now I'm going to show you who the boss is. Kovalev doesn't seem to have that. He's 35 now. Is this the end of the road for the Crusher? What do you think?